swept Washington for its third title in franchise history. Now, 8 months later, the 2019 season is set to begin. Welcome to the NBA WNBA preseason on ESPN. Season number 23 begins tonight in New York, inside of the Barclays Center. The New York Liberty hosts and welcomes the Chinese women's basketball team to New York City, where Tina Charles is set to begin her 10th season in the WNBA after another All-Star appearance. And with that, we welcome you with the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. I'm David Resnick. Well, we know what 2018 was all about, Seattle winning their third title in franchise history. What do you think will define 2019?
A lot more great play on the basketball court, much like we saw a season ago in the regular season and in the playoffs. There's not an overwhelming favorite this year you go in pointing to. A lot of young rookies that are going to have a chance to make an impact for their teams. I'm excited to see it all.
Preseason is an interesting time. Training camp opened just Sunday. There have been a couple of practices, a little get to know each other. What is this time of year about for a player?
For preseason, coaches love it, players not so much. This is the grueling time where you're getting your body ready for the upcoming season. Even young guys like that.
Who's that?
It's an exciting time for the rookies when they're coming in. They don't know exactly what to expect. Some of them are fighting for a roster spot. The veterans are getting ready and hopeful that they're going to be going to and leading their team to a championship.
Yeah, it must be a different perspective for veterans and rookies. But before we tip things off, let's send it to the Barclays PA announcer, Ron Kirsch.
Fans, at this time, please direct your attention to center court and give a warm Liberty welcome to the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in New York, Wang Ping.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to join you here to watch this wonderful game. Let me start by saying in Chinese, 热烈欢迎中国国家女子篮球队来到纽约. I say warmly welcome the Chinese women's national team to come to New York. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone here to join us. This year is quite special. It's a year to mark the 40th anniversary of this wonderful relationship between China and the U.S. So this game is to celebrate this wonderful relationship. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to both teams. I hope everyone will enjoy this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that sets the scene for tonight's matchup. And for the Liberty, after 3 straight trips to the postseason last year, they faltered, one of their worst in franchise history. What needs to change, or who needs to be some of the catalysts to get back to the postseason?
Well, one thing that doesn't need to change is that they need to continue to play through their best player, former MVP Tina Charles. She's gotten it done year after year for the New York Liberty, one of the best players in the WNBA, and they have one of the more dynamic young rookies in the league in Asia Durr, a terrific scorer coming out of Louisville. She's exactly what the Liberty needed a season ago, a player who can go out and get her own shot. And I am really eager to see this young woman, Han Shu. She played terrific in the World Cup this past fall against the U.S. team, scoring 20 points at 6'9". She can face up and score.
She became the first player of Chinese descent to be drafted in the main WNBA draft. She was picked in the second round by the Liberty, 14th overall. And she played against Tina Charles, her now teammate, in the 2018 FIBA World Cup back in September. A gold medal was won by Team USA. China finished in 6th. And Tina Charles and Han Shu both in the starting lineup for the Liberty this evening. Also, Asia Durr, the 2nd overall pick out of Louisville, gets the starting nod. As for Team China, somebody to watch out for is Leo Yueru. And while Han Shu was drafted in the 2nd round, Yueru was picked in the 3rd round by the Atlanta Dream, becoming the 2nd player from China to be drafted in the main draft. So we are underway inside of the Barclays Center. The Liberty in the green, China in the red. And in your conversations, Rebecca, with head coach Katie Smith, how do you expect the Liberty to approach this preseason game?
I think coaches have a couple of goals to get out of preseason games as you take a look at Katie Smith right there. One, you want to get your veterans some time together. The training camp just started on Sunday. You want to get them getting reps together, and then obviously it's a time to evaluate some of the younger players. And right there you see with Shu, that's what she likes to do, is go over her left shoulder. But at 6'9", she has extended range out beyond 15 feet, and she's very comfortable for a big player putting the ball on the ground.
The tallest player at 6'9" in the draft, the youngest player as well as a 19-year-old. That's Yuuru on the offensive glass. And so both drafted WNBA players from China making an impact early.
I mean, this is a 6'9" player doing that. She loves that. Fake to the right and then come back over the left shoulder. The Liberty would love to see a low block player who can complement what Tina Charles does so well for them. Charles scores on the low block, but very capable out to the three-point line.
Charles commits the foul, sending Liu to the line. Just finished up a season in the women's CBA in China, where she won a championship. It was named MVP of the finals, winning that title with Nneka Ogwumike of the Los Angeles Sparks. Playing WNBA rules in this exhibition game against the national team. On the pull-up, that's too strong on the first attempt by Asia Durr, the first-year pro out of Louisville.
That'll happen when you have 6'7" defender coming at you, and you see her finish right there. A big body, but she runs the floor well and can finish inside.
All 4 points for China comes from Liu. Kia Nurse getting the start today. Stepping up and knocking down that two. One of just 2 players from a season ago in her rookie year to play in all 34 games for the Liberty. That was saved by Liu, but picked up by New York. Transition opportunity. There's Durr. Left that one short.
That's nerves. That's rookie nerves on the miss right there by Asia Durr.
Inside to Liu. Tangled up. And the held ball. Nice defense there by Brittany Boyd coming in, now in her 5th season out of Cal.
Dave, it's just such a different experience, these preseason games, for a rookie and for a veteran. There's nerves. There's a lot of nerves for rookies. A player like Tina Charles, you're going out trying to find your rhythm. You know, you want to play well, you want to get in the groove, but it's not nearly the same feelings you have when you're a young player playing for the first time in an NBA, WNBA arena, and in this kind of environment.
What are those nerves?
Well, for some of the rookies, it's just a matter of hoping that you play well enough to live another day as a member of the team. For someone like Asia Durr, it's trying to just get acclimated, knowing what you can do, but being able to get out there and be able to do it.
Han runs the floor, but she's last to touch. As we play nearly 2 minutes, tied up at 4. The Liberty and Team China opening up the 23rd season of the WNBA. After a year for the Liberty, which they went 7-27, losing their last 13 of the season. Kia Nurse end-to-end, and she's fouled. Second-year pro out of UConn, solid rookie campaign a year ago, will shoot 2. So a lot of people will talk about the jump that you could make from your rookie year to your second year. Where do you see Kia Nurse being able to expand her game?
I think just being a little bit more confident in what she does on both ends of the floor. She's always been known as a really good defensive player. You know, she's very capable of hitting that 15-foot jumper that we saw her take a possession ago. It's just being more confident and willing to take that more often. She's got great size at the guard position.
Average better than 9 points per game, 5th best as a rookie in the league. Lee Mung, a pretty move, gets to the rim, tying things up at 6, and then a nice defensive play on the sideline.
especially for a big girl. You know, to run back, extend, disrupt it so that Liberty could not get out in transition.
Change of direction, and the pull-up is good. Nice touch for Brittany Boyd. Liberty take the 2-point lead. Here's Lee. And then a whistle away from the ball. Offensive foul called against China.
I'm glad it's universal that when you get called for a foul, you look at your teammate and yell at her. Not just in the WNBA, it happens with the Chinese national team too.
Disgust does not get lost in translation.
Not at all.
Inside to Charles, off the window, and Tina Charles is on the board as she begins her 6th season with the Liberty. Coming off of her 6th All-Star game nod. Is she still the type of cornerstone player a franchise can build around?
Yeah, without question. She is still one of the best players in the world.
Durr strips it away, leads the break. Brittany Boyd leading the team last year in assists, locates Charles. This is Hahn underneath on the offensive glass. Out of bounds, stays with the Liberty.
Hahn did a couple nice things on that possession. She ran the floor and then sealed off the defender so that Tina Charles could get the shot. Then she got the offensive rebound, and it was a nice almost finish near the end and getting them another possession.
This matchup of Shu against Leo, those two played on the same team back in September for China. 6th place finish in the World Cup, and an offensive foul is called there against the Liberty. Tina Charles picking up her 2nd. We've played 4 minutes, and Tina Charles has a field goal and a couple of fouls.
And if this was a regular season game, she'd probably be sitting next to Katie Smith by now, but in a preseason game, you're not all that worried about that because Tina Charles is not going to play 40 minutes in a preseason game anyway.
Working off the screen is Lee, another member of the national team from the World Cup. It's swung to the corner, Lee missing that one, and wrestled away by Boyd. 3-on-2, Boyd on the bounce to Durr. And some more nerves displayed by the 2nd overall pick from this year's WNBA draft.
I was talking to Katie Smith about Asia Durr, and she said, you know, she's comfortable. She fits in right away. Offensively, her game translates. One of the questions is with any rookie, and including Asia Durr, is how are they going to handle the physicality of the league and the different pace of play. Katie Smith is confident that Asia Durr will handle that quickly.
Averaged 21 points per game as a senior in Louisville. Tina Charles last year for Katie Smith's team led the team in scoring at 19.7. Nobody else was within 10 points. Can Durr develop into that secondary option?
Yeah, without question. And it's going to be making sure she has the willingness to look for those scoring opportunities as well.
Underneath, Leo beats the buzzer. Good hustle there underneath. That's Lee Yuan, the 5'7" guard. Just trying to interrupt play there underneath the hoop, but it is to the Liberty. And with talk of Han Shu and Asia Durr, the first 2 draft picks for the Liberty, Megan Huff entering the lineup. She was the 3rd round draft pick for the Liberty, 26 overall, taken out of Utah. Step back for Nurse, that's off the iron. The aforementioned Huff on the offensive glass. And an extra possession for the Liberty.
It's a great way to get yourself involved in your first couple of seconds on the floor when you're a rookie. And for Huff to get in there, to get to the offensive glass. She's a true stretch 4. This is a player who is very capable from out to the 3-point line. Be a nice compliment to some of the other bigs that the Liberty have on this team.
And a big opportunity for a rookie like Megan Huff entering a team that has 5 open roster spots. Call against the Liberty back to the Chinese women national team.
And this is a good opportunity for any of the young bigs for the New York Liberty because they have a couple of their post players who have not yet return from their overseas commitment, so they're going to get a lot of reps both in training camp and in this game tonight.
Out of bounds, back to the Liberty. New York with the early first quarter lead over China.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them? You don't know my name.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. It changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Asia Durr in her rookie season for the New York Liberty. A terrific four-year player for Louisville. Was the #2 player in her high school class, and then a spectacular career with the Cardinals before being picked second overall.
This is a player who, coming out of college, you knew was going to be ready for the pro game. She can create her own shot. She has deep range. She's terrific off the bounce. In her senior night game at Louisville, she made 11 three-pointers. So when she gets hot, she's really dangerous, but this is what she can do that will translate. She is very good at creating and outstanding in the pick and roll. She hasn't had too many pick and roll opportunities yet early in this game, but very effective in that. Gave some college teams nightmares trying to figure out how they were going to defend her in the pick and roll situation.
Final Four in 2018. Finished as the Cardinals' second all-time leading scorer behind Angel McCoughtry, who then became the #1 pick in the WNBA. Durr, picked second, becomes the second highest Cardinal to be selected.
Talked about her in the pick and roll. There she was. She came off doing the right thing, passing to an open teammate. Worley just could not handle it.
3-second violation calls. Katie Smith, part of the Hall of Fame class of 2018. Now in her second season as a head coach, 6 overall with the franchise. How does scoring translate from one level to the next?
I think it depends on different players, but if you have a skill set for like a player like Asia Durr who can create, and who can create over even long defenders in college, it's helpful. If your game is good in the pick and roll, whether you're a guard or a post, that translates because WNBA teams are so reliant on pick and roll.
Ball batted around and scooped up by China, trailing by 4. Yang Li Wei was the one that picked it up, and on the baseline, Li Yuan knocks it down. Cuts the deficit to just 2, 4.25 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Entry pass stolen away by Leo. Lee draws the foul in transition as she had a defender on her hip. Brittany Boyd, one of 3 players that played their college ball at California under New York native, their head coach Lindsay Gottlieb, whose former assistant is now the first-year assistant with the Liberty. Charmin Smith joins the bench with Herb Williams and head coach Katie Smith. From deep, Lee knocks it down from straight away, and it's a 1-point China lead. Entry feed inside and the finish, creating space underneath. Nicely done there by Avery Worley Talbert, 28 years old, out of Liberty. A good block. That was Huff trailing. So Boyd, now in her second year back from that Achilles injury that she suffered in 2017. Played 30 out of 34 games a year ago, leading the team in assists. Wild shot flipped up by Tanisha right at the end of the shot clock. And it's a violation back to China.
We talked about Megan Huff at the other end of the floor, getting the offensive rebound, and then here a really nice defensive play, blocking from the backside. That's one of the things rookies can do to live another day in training camp. It's not all about scoring. If you can make hustle plays, get on the offensive glass, block shots, help your teammates, become a teammate that everyone else on the floor wants to have with them because you help make up for their mistakes, it helps give you a chance to make a roster.
14 dressed tonight for the Liberty. You can have up to 15 in camp at one time. 6 additional players on the roster that could potentially join. And that was a 3 by Yang Li Wei, fading away and putting China in front. Li Wei with the steal. Yang Li Wei brings it across the timeline. Wang Suyu. And from the elbow, it's rattled in by Zhan Li Ting.
And it's a very different looking Liberty team than when the starters were in the game. And even though they've all been in training camp for the same amount of days, this is just the experience of this group not having very many minutes together on the floor, and it's showing right now on both ends.
A miss there by Wright on the offensive glass. Worley Talbert stays with it. The Liberty played China in an exhibition game back in 2015, and Worley Talbert was actually the leading rebounder in that game. She had 6. Trying to make the roster one more time. Make way as the 2019 WNBA season tips off Friday, May 24th. Check your local listings or visit WNBA.com for more. So just weeks away from the regular season beginning in season 23. Open look for Wang. Short. Collected there by Rebecca Allen, a veteran. Wang to Liu. Racing the other way in transition. Nicely done by Bias.
Tiffany Bias had some nice minutes a few years ago with the Phoenix Mercury. She's a player with great quickness, can push it up the floor.
Ripped away by Worley Talbert.
I think she might want to be the leading rebounder in this game too.
That'd be quite the distinction considering that she's not been with the Liberty straight through, having last played with New York in 2015. And a whistle on the outside. Bias drawing the foul, heading to the line. She's been good in transition as well.
And this is what is a bonus. If a guard can get in there and get the defensive board and has the speed like Bias has, you don't waste time with an outlet. You just go yourself. There's a nice finish inside.
Now 26 years old, out of Oklahoma State, was the 17th overall pick 5 years ago in 2014. 29 total WNBA games in her career, last in 2016 to Dallas. So we've talked about the rookies, the veterans. How about somebody like Bias that is really working against the clock potentially when it comes to her fate on this Liberty roster?
Yeah, I mean, but these are the kind of players that you may not have seen them in the WNBA for a year or two, but have been overseas working, getting ready to make a return to the WNBA. And it's always fun to hear those stories about the players who may not make it initially, but work their way back to the league.
Li Wei off the iron, no. 4 seconds left. A heave from half court. Wide left. And the first quarter comes to a close. New York Liberty and China on ESPN News.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Our coverage of the conference semifinals rolls on tonight with 2 more Game 6s on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Raptors Sixers at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then it's Nuggets Trailblazers with the Raptors and Nuggets leading their respective series 3 games to 2.
Hi, little guys.
Reminds me of the picture that we saw to open up the broadcast.
Can I just say, that could be the first kid I've ever seen go to a game wearing the jersey of the referee. Was that a ref jersey or was that a soccer team?
They need fans too, you know. Someone's got to root for the refs. You know, the 10 players and the coaches.
That's true.
Back underway inside of Barclays Center with the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. I'm David Resnick. An exhibition game for the Liberty against the Chinese women's national basketball team. And we are tied up at 18 early here in the second quarter. That's Leo knocking it down. You made a contrast between the opening 5 minutes where the Liberty had their starters on the floor and then the back end of the first quarter with more reserves as Lee Mong goes end-to-end and one.
Well, Katie Smith clearly wanted to see something a little different, put Tina Charles back in the game. And this drive here is that foul's on Tiffany Bias, though. That's not on Tina Charles, right? And the best I could see, because that would be Charles' third if it was.
It would be. She picked up a couple of early fouls. 3-point lead for China. They've scored the first 5 of the second quarter.
So that was Tina Charles' third foul. It didn't look like there was a whole lot of contact by her on that possession.
So far, China proving to be a formidable opponent. As Tina Charles now in the 10th season. Driving from the top, getting all the way inside to finish. Tagged for the second straight year as a core player. Signed on the first day of training camp this past Sunday.
It's been fun. I mean, Tina Charles was the best player in college, coming out of college in her rookie year when she was drafted by the Connecticut Sun. But watching how her game has evolved. At UConn, she was definitely a low post back to the basket player and out to 15 feet. And that's how she was early on in her WNBA career. But the last few years, she's extended her range to the 3-point line, continues to get better and better every season because of the hard work she puts in the offseason.
Without looking it up, I know at best she's only the 2nd best center out of UConn, right?
There's been a lot of good centers to play at UConn. Tina Charles, definitely one of the best.
You see how she's put together such a complete career. Started all 33 games that she played in last year, her 5th with New York. Her status was a bit up in the air leading into the season, and Katie Smith during the time leading up to the year still felt confident that Tina would be in the mix this year.
And you can just see what she's done throughout the course of her WNBA career. Did a great job for the Connecticut Sun when she was there. Wanted to come back home to New York City, which is where she has been the past few years, and just a dominant player since she stepped foot in the league.
Played her high school ball in Queens at Christ the King. Has enjoyed playing in front of her parents and family. First at Madison Square Garden, then the Westchester County Center. Tonight in Barclays as the Liberty play in that venue for the first time ever.
Before one of Tina's first games in college playing for UConn, I talked to her high school coach at Christ the King, and he said she could be the best player to ever come out of Christ the King, which is saying something because Shamika Holtzclaw went to Christ the King, Sue Bird went to Christ the King, and she's proven that to be true. I mean, what a terrific WNBA talent. That shot for her is money when she gets her back to the basket. Turnaround fadeaway on the block is money. Just a supremely talented offensive player.
Top 10 in scoring, top 15 in rebounds a year ago. Tough season, though, as we mentioned, for the Liberty. 7-27. They were 5th out of 6 teams in the East, 11th out of 12 teams overall. And for a team that was consistently in the playoff mix and knocking on the door to making their first finals since 2002, last year was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, it definitely was. And one of the things they were missing a season ago was a vocal leader and a player to kind of show them how to steady the waters when things were rough. And that's the reason they have Tanisha Wright. That's the reason they traded for her. You see her on the top of the screen. She's a great veteran leader who had a stint with the Liberty before she went to Minnesota for a couple years, but they got her back, and Katie Smith is thrilled with the way she has performed early on in this training camp.
Wright, a member of the Liberty in 15 and 16, a couple of playoff appearances for New York. That's off of the official and still in play as it caroms back to the middle of the floor and a jump ball. Tanisha Wright acquired, part of a multi-team trade that involved Sugar Rogers being shipped out from New York. 35 years old, now in her 14th WNBA season. Was drafted in the first round back in 2005 out of Penn State, becoming the first Nittany Lion to hear her name called in the opening round.
You know, her numbers aren't what Sugar Rogers' numbers were, but sometimes it doesn't, the numbers aren't what a team needs necessarily. And Katie Smith said, you know, we were sad to see Sugar go. They really enjoyed having her being a part of the New York Liberty, but she said, but we were thrilled to get to. And all of the players here are thrilled to have Tanisha back with them. And again, her leadership could be really valuable to this team, and you know, making sure they improve from what they did a season ago, which shouldn't be hard because they were you know, not very successful.
Yeah, they were a game in front of Indiana for last place, 16 games behind the eventual Eastern Conference regular season champ in Atlanta. Foul there against Leo. Here's Wright. Throws a pass out of the reach. She averaged just 4.3 points per game, and yet there seems to be an indication that she could be a huge key to a bounce-back season.
Yep. Again, it's often about a lot more than just the numbers.
Worley Talbert, nice defensive play, reaching around. And another jump ball as Leo got tangled up. Playing for Minnesota last year.
Again, they wanted her, even a team like Minnesota that had a lot of veteran leaders on the squad. You want a player like Tanisha Wright because of what she brings every day and her business-like approach and her willingness to lead. You see her there. It's not only by example, but it's vocally as well.
She conceded the jump ball to then angle herself to be in the spot to pick it up, and it nearly leads to an Allen three. That's a savvy move.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. That the player in the jump goes and steals it. I'm not sure that that's legal. I don't know when you're allowed to move as the jumper, but well done by Tanisha.
That might start a trend if it is indeed legal. That's what I would do if I was jumping against you. 6:20 to go in the first half. Charles with her back to the basket. Flips it up and in.
Doesn't matter whether it's right-handed hook, left-handed hook. It's money for Tina Charles. That's not a left-handed baseline hook is not an easy shot.
Lee takes it baseline and a foul.
Tina Charles fourth. You think she knows it's a preseason game? If this is a regular season game, there's no way she reaches in and hits it. Oh, that's her third.
Was she told she's only playing the first half?
Could be likely.
So after a disappointing 10th place finish in the 2016 Olympics, China bounced back in the 2018 World Cup to finish 6th, and they actually moved up 3 spots in the world rankings from 10 up to 7 for head coach Xu Limin, who was the head coach of that World Cup team back in September. Saw his squad lose by 12 to Team USA in pool play. And then a Canada team that featured Kia Nurse of the Liberty. He lost to them in the 5-6 game. Charles draws the whistle.
One of the best centers in the world, former MVP, Tina Charles. Give me a little left-handed hook, Tina. There it is, money.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
You don't know my name. It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
As if the resume for Tina Charles could not get any longer. From accomplished basketball player to now filmmaker, a documentary about her father's Brooklyn record store debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival. Tina using her free time between WNBA seasons to work on this feature about her father. And it debuted just over the last couple weeks in New York City. It was so popular, it was scheduled for just one showing. They added another to check out Charlie's record.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful that I have a chance to see it. I mean, what two very different things to get into. One, the WNBA player who usually spends the off-season overseas, and this time making a documentary about her father. A lot of opportunity to sit down and talk with him about those early days of the record shop. A lot of daughters get a chance to sit down and interview their dads on camera.
One of 2 for Charles at the line. She puts the Liberty in front. Getting to the 10 is Brittany Boyd.
Nice clear out on the right side of the floor, and Boyd takes advantage of it.
What do you expect from Boyd? We mentioned that gruesome Achilles tendon injury a couple of years ago. Last year did bounce back to contribute. Is there room for a bigger jump now, 2 years out from the injury?
I think so. I mean, Boyd, what she's always done well from the time she was at Cal was really push the pace, get you out in transition, get easy buckets by running the floor. And for her game to continue to evolve, it's, you know, continue to improve the face-up jump shot out to the three-point line, have the ability to know when to get the right players the basketball, to know which sets to run in order to do that. And that's an area where she really might be able to learn from Tanisha Wright.
Inside, sandwich, threw it up, was Leo, gets her own miss, and up with the left hand. She was guarded well by Hahn and Farris and still scored. Kelly Farris in the pick and roll, floats it up there for Talia Caldwell, and that's picked off. On the baseline for 2 is Wang Shuamang, veteran of the Chinese women's national team, playing in the World Cup in both 2014 and 2018. About half the roster for China tonight competed with the national team in September. One of those players, Han, diving on the floor for the loose ball, and there was a lot made of where her allegiance would be for this historic preseason game.
Well, for any player, your allegiance is with the team who has the same jerseys as you do when you're out there. But what a unique situation for her. It's an advantage for you on the defensive end of the floor because you know the tendencies of all of your former teammates and your opponents. It can be a disadvantage offensively because they know your tendencies too and can try to force you to do things you're not quite as comfortable with. She's 6'9". When you watch her run up and down the floor, and even when you watch her move in the half court, she doesn't move like most extraordinarily tall people do. She's smoother in her movements, laterally and up and down the floor.
Averaged 16 and 9 in her first pro season in the WCBA. From the corner, a three is knocked down by Wang.
Free ball really made a difference so far in this game. New York is yet to make one. They're 0 for 5.
After Han was drafted by the Liberty and this game was announced, there was a curiosity who she would suit up for, and the Liberty made their announcement in a video to announce that she would be playing for the Liberty in this evening's contest. Becoming the first Chinese player drafted since 1997. Haisha Zhang played 1 year for LA. She was picked 16th overall in the 1997 Elite Draft ahead of the inaugural season. So Xu is recognized, or Han rather, is recognized as the second overall Chinese player drafted, but first in the main draft.
You saw there on the free throws where she's got really nice touch out to 15, 17 feet.
Another offensive rebound by Liu. She's heading to the line for a couple of free throws after the Liberty allow another offensive board. So as Han made history in the second round, it was quickly followed up by the selection of Leo Uero, who was then picked with the second to last selection by Atlanta.
She will not be in camp for Atlanta this year. She has military commitments with China that will prevent her from being able to play in camp.
Durr baseline. That's off the iron. Back tapped out by Farris and saved at midcourt. Wraparound pass stolen. Numbers for China. Good hustle and a good find. Liu to Wang underneath, and China extends the lead to 4.
The last two possessions, offensively and defensively for the New York Liberty, you saw some things from Kelly Farris, and the reason why the Connecticut UConn fans loved her when she was there. Pure effort. You saw her back tap the offensive board, then go try to help save it. Defensively, she's on the ground, diving for loose basketballs. That's what Kelly Farris is all about.
Here's Durr. Slow offensive start. Working in tandem with Han, who's immediately double teamed. In and out for Durr, and the rebound for Pan.
There are times in college where it took Asia Durr a little bit of time to heat up. There are times where she came out and was money from the get-go, but there are times where it took her a little bit to heat up. And she's not going to have that luxury so much in the WNBA because every time down the floor, she might not have the ball in her hands, or it might be, all right, this possession, we got to get it inside to Tina Charles.
Han Jung-chi, a 3, The 19-year-old extending the Chinese lead in the Barclays Center.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Late stages of the first half, China with the 6-point lead in this preseason game against the Liberty. And if you are a player looking to make a roster, Liberty Camp would be your destination. Just 7 of the 12 players returned from last year's team.
Yeah, well, these are 5 players who got starters, significant time starting a season ago, and right now Epiphany, Prince, and Kiavon, both unrestricted free agents. Neither of them have signed. Just taking some rest right now. Speaking with their agent, she said, you know, one or both of them might come back after the All-Star break, but that's 5 players who got starters minutes a season ago who are not with the New York Liberty right now, and that's what you want when you're a rookie coming into a training camp, or any player in training camp that's not a veteran starter that has a guaranteed spot, is you want an opportunity. And New York this season is one of those teams that you will have a fighting chance to make the team.
6 players still not with the Liberty because of overseas commitments. So on tonight's roster, only 4 players saw time last year, so a great opportunity to earn some minutes. Young gets in tight. So not only are you looking for minutes, but you're potentially looking for a spot. And prior to additional exhibition games next week, you have a great opportunity to see some time as Asia Dur lays it in. Getting all the way to the rim underneath. A good pump fake and nearly a chance at 3. Leo is doing a nice job on the block for China. Foul committed by Han Shu, her first.
It's a great little handoff from Han to Asia Dur, going to her strong side, her left side. Again, Liberty have done a nice job a few times down the floor, clearing out one side of the floor so that their ball handler can drive in without the help defense there.
Final minute of play of the first half. Perfect trip for Leo Uaru. Dur in the corner. That's off the heel. Tracked down by Lee Yuan. Handled there by Pon. Pivots in. And a foul before the travel. More free throws.
That used to drive me nuts because it works. Is if the player screams when they're like in the lane. If they're in the paint and they let out a little yelp, the refs still tend to call the foul. It's true. So if you're a young player and you go into the paint and there's a scrum around you, just yell, "Ah!" as you're putting the shot up, and you'll probably end up at the free throw line. It used to drive me nuts when I would get fouls called on me because the other player would do that.
Did you then turn it around on them?
No, I just couldn't bring myself to be the yelper.
You have foul standards.
That's right. I wouldn't lower myself to that.
Half minute to go. Shot clock down to 12 for Dur. The screen from Han. Han knocks it in.
That was a really nice pick and roll, and a nice pop by Han off of the Asia Dur, using the Asia Dur screen, or Asia Dur using her screen.
Han with the big block. Closing seconds and another whistle. It appears that Leo got hacked prior to the expiration of the clock.
But Han is a 19-year-old. We just saw on both ends of the floor of what makes it so exciting for Liberty fans and for Katie Smith. On one end, you see your 6'9" player stepping out, involved in the ball screen, and then finishing. And on the defensive end, because of her length, you see her blocking a shot.
High expectations, a well-known prospect. During halftime, we'll talk more of the journey of Han Xu from China to New York for the draft and eventually staying in the city to play her first year in the WNBA.
Do we get a preseason monitor review?
Everybody has to get in the groove.
Could we be so fortunate as to get a preseason monitor review?
You know, I've done my research. I hear you love video reviews.
I love the monitor review. Oh yeah, the whistle happens before the foul clearly happens before the clock goes down. The ref's arm goes up. So what is it? They've decided 1 second. I thought it was going to be like more 0.6 or so.
So you're disappointed in this review?
A little bit, yeah. It's one of the shortest, I guess because it's not for a flagrant or anything like that. It was just clock. So you haven't done enough WNBA games to know how fun these monitor reviews are in our league.
Empty trip. And now halftime is over. Han Xu, her path to the WNBA, and we'll think more of the storylines for the 23rd WNBA season. Halftime in Brooklyn. Inside of Barclays, ready to start the third quarter. 42-36 is the lead for the Chinese women's national team over the New York Liberty with Rebecca Lobo, David Resnick. First half thoughts?
I've been really impressed by the post play of the New York Liberty, and it starts with a young player. I mean, when you watch how she moves on the floor and the way she's able to finish, both in the low block, back to the basket, and facing, you forget that Han is 6'9". You don't forget that Tina Charles is one of the best who's ever worn a Liberty uniform, as she was able to be dominant when she touched the ball in the first half, off the bounce, with her back to the basket, facing the basket as well.
Both in the starting lineup tonight with a shorthanded Liberty roster, but can this be a tandem that works together on the floor when it's the regular season?
Oh yeah, I think so without question. I mean, both players can play with their back to the basket, both can face up as well. So, you know, they are players who can complement one another if they're out there, and that's one of the most important things you need to play the post position on the New York Liberty, and alongside a superstar like Tina Charles, and that's be able to be on the floor when she's on the floor, because if you can't be on the floor with her, you're not going to get much time, because Tina Charles is going to get a big chunk of the minutes.
Charles is out there to start the second half, but not Han. 6-point edge for China to begin the second half.
Katie Smith wants to see different lineups and combinations and how they work together. This is the first time that we've seen this particular group with one another.
Second year as a head coach.
It's a lot for coaches to learn in these precious minutes of the preseason games.
What are some of the indicators that you think a coach is looking for to understand a chemistry of a group, as Tina Charles puts it in?
I think it's just that, you know, what combinations of players work well with one another, you know, and not just meaning like in pick and roll who's good together, but just finding chemistry in which players' skill sets complement one another.
He unearthed the rebound and the run out. End to end with the left hand, no. A rebound underneath. And a chance at free throws here for the Liberty.
Two shots. Team trying to foul charge number 3, Youngly Way. That's our third. Keep first for the quarter.
The WNBA's 23rd season tips off Saturday, May 25th, and we'll have a rematch of last year's epic Western Conference Final between the Phoenix Mercury and the Seattle Storm at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. Early timeout, less than a minute into the third in Barclays.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Not only was last year the first year for Katie Smith as a head coach, but it also marked her induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And what a resume when you consider her collegiate career, her WNBA career, her time on the national team. Really just a standard in terms of her play in basketball.
I mean, what a fierce competitor she was when she was on the basketball court. Big, strong guard, good defender, physical with you. And there's another Hall of Famer. Teresa Weatherspoon is going to be inducted this fall into the Hall of Fame, a year after Katie Smith went in 2018.
Got in as a second-time finalist from the Women's Committee, their selection. She'll be enshrined in September.
And Teresa Weatherspoon is synonymous with the New York Liberty, the face of the franchise for so many years, the heart and soul of the New York Liberty team.
Traveling violation there to Leo Ueru.
I mean, some of my fondest memories of Teresa are just the way she could completely control the crowd at Madison Square Garden. I mean, just when she would clap or get the intensity on her face or wave her arms to get the crowd going, it was like a pastor at a packed church. Everybody in the congregation would respond.
Back the last couple of years with the Liberty in a coaching role after spending some time as the head coach of her alma mater, Louisiana Tech. Into the corner for Wong. The kick out here to Lee. Shot clock to 5. Kick out 3. It's a long 2. That splash down by Wong Shuamang.
Until Asia Durr got a little lost on the shooter, that was a pretty good defensive possession by the New York Liberty. But 1 second of losing your player, and it results in a shot. But nice take by Keen Nurse to get inside and finish.
Flicked it up with her back to the basket to pull the Liberty to within 3. Driving to the basket with the left hand was Young. This is Nurse. And a whistle away from the ball. The intensity, the defense. As her big, I'm sure she demanded that you would run the floor.
And this is what she's known most for in her career, was this incredible shot in the WNBA Finals to send it to a Game 3 in Houston.
20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, she played with so much heart and soul.
It's part of 3 teams with the Liberty to go to the championship, but fell each time. The Liberty is a franchise 0 for 4. They went 4 times in 6 years when the league first started in '97 into the early 2000s. You two will share a spot in the Hall of Fame, also in the New York Liberty Ring of Honor. There's a lot of great stories from those early days as Nurse tees up a 3.
Most of them I can't tell on air.
On the follow, Charles.
If you're asking if any players look like they're in mid-season form already right now, a couple days into training camp, Tina Charles is one of them.
Do you think think it helps or hurt that she hasn't played the last 2 WNBA off seasons in terms of that readiness?
It clearly doesn't look like it's hurt in any way. I mean, Tina Charles looks sharp out here. Her ability to finish, there's no rust on her at all. And when players take some time off, especially those who've been playing year-round for so many years, it is really helpful in terms of their health. And what a great pass. First, a great backdoor cut by Kia Nurse, but the pass by Tina Charles, perfectly placed.
The Liberty reclaimed the lead. They were down 6 at the break.
I mean, I love the elbow entry, and when it goes there, it's because there's an overplay on the wing. Read perfectly by Kia Nurse, goes back door. Perfectly delivered. UConn grad to UConn grad. It's never a bad thing to see in a WNBA game.
Called by a UConn.
That's right.
Thrown into traffic. Charles picks it up. Bianca Cuevas-Moore into the game for the first time, and Kia Nurse sticks a 3 from the corner. Big run here by the Liberty.
It's one thing New York could really use to improve this season. They were 11th in the league a year ago, second to last in three-point field goal percentage. They've not shot the ball well so far in this game, 1 for 8. But when you have a dominant center like Tina Charles, you need to be able to give her space by hitting from the perimeter.
Liu answers. Tanisha Wright.
Post players like when they have shooters in the corners and New York getting out in transition. How about this? Tina Charles leading the break. Extra pass by Cuevas-Moore and Nurse draining from the corner.
First year for the Liberty, owned by Joseph Tsai. And more on the changes for the Liberty entering 2019.
20-second timeout for Liberty.
Liberty call a 20-second timeout. Liberty on the comeback trail. They've taken over the lead.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
You don't know my name.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Bianca Cuevas-Moore made the extra pass to Nurse for the 3, and a homecoming for Cuevas-Moore, who, before playing her college ball at South Carolina, grew up in the Bronx, played her high school ball at Nazareth in Brooklyn, just 5 miles away from the Barclays Center, and we're told that friends and family in attendance to watch the professional debut for Cuevas-Moore.
There's certain players in certain situations you find yourself rooting for, and Cuevas-Moore right now is one of those for me. You would imagine she grew up dreaming of playing not only in the WNBA, but for the New York Liberty, and for the game to be played in Brooklyn when she's from Brooklyn, all the family and friends there today. I just hope this kid has a chance and plays really well in this preseason game.
Former McDonald's All-American, former state champ, former New York Player of the Year, returning to our home state to play. That's put in at the foul line to tie things up at 48.
Score is tied at 48.
So 4 straight for the Chinese after the Liberty made a run. Squeezing in between defenders there was Nurse on her way to the rim.
And forgive me, Cuevas-Moore from the Bronx. I'm sure people from the Bronx don't want to be told that they're from Brooklyn.
Roberto Baldo going on somewhere. It is an interesting feature, especially when you go to private school, but even in the New York City schools, that you could choose your high school. Tonight after Nuggets-Blazers Game 6, don't miss Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. He'll have post-game coverage from Portland with Tim Legler in studio, plus a Raptors-Sixers Game 6 breakdown, and Barry Melrose joins the show to analyze Hurricanes-Bruins Game 1. Sports Center, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Lee Mung on the drive. Straight up defense by Nurse.
She needed to scream. She would have gotten the call.
Nurse bumped on the way.
Did you hear it? One end, don't scream, you don't get the call. This end, Kia Nurse screams a little bit. She finds herself at the free throw line. I don't approve of it, but I'm saying it's a fact.
Lee Mung, that is her second. Team's over limit. Kia Nurse at the line, shooting 2.
So you're going to go end-to-end. Kia Nurse doing a nice job. Crossover. Yeah, right there. Did you hear? Or, well, we didn't hear, but you saw that she screamed.
I think you're onto something.
Oh, I'm certain I am.
Jean Roux. Sure places Juan Shogun.
Gamesmanship, right?
Yeah.
Kia Nurse has found her rhythm offensively in the second half. Midway through the third quarter, this preseason game kicking off the preseason schedule in the WNBA. Liberty will still play 3 additional preseason games before starting the season in a couple of weeks. Feed ahead to Charles. Got tangled up there with Liu. Off of 1 foot. Loose on the baseline. Official asking for help. And it's to the Chinese. So first year of ownership for Joseph Tsai. He's a part owner of the Brooklyn Nets as the Liberty changing hands from James Dolan of MSG to Joseph Tsai, who is a co-founder of the Alibaba Group in China and was a big proponent of setting up this preseason game. First ever for the Liberty in Barclays. And the majority of the upcoming schedule for the Liberty will be back in Westchester County, where they played their games last year, transitioning from MSG. And we'll see what the future holds in terms of the Liberty and where they will call home after the 2019 season. Like Katie Smith commenting after Media Day this week that the team is adjusting to living and practicing in Brooklyn, but they'll still play their games in Westchester this upcoming season.
There's a different energy. There's a renewed energy that comes with the new ownership. And the early days of the New York Liberty, the players lived in Manhattan. There's an excitement about that, a certain vibe about that. And then when you move out to Westchester, it's a very different feeling. And she said she thinks the players really like being back in the city, and they're living in Brooklyn now, practicing in Brooklyn. The games again will be up in Westchester this season, but I'm sure there's hope by the players and the New York Liberty and the New York City fans that they're hopeful next season or soon thereafter that the team will play a lot more of their games at the Barclays Center.
You know, it was interesting. Tina Charles was asked this week whether or not it had an effect on them last year, and she said, she didn't make excuses. She said it had nothing to do with it. We went 4-13 at home, 3-14 on the road. If our poor play had to do with the venue, then we would have done better on the road. So clearly there was something to the change of venue and the change of location, but Tina Charles as a leader not publicly using that as an excuse.
Well, just in terms of players' desire to play for a certain franchise, and especially for young people, there's a different vibe and energy when you are living in the city. And that was one of the great things for me when I played for the New York Liberty the first 5 years of my career, was just being in Manhattan and experiencing that. It made the all-around experience much more fun.
Liberty by 4, hedging inside. A drive to the lane for Liu. Nothing called. Nurse, feet set. Rebound tracked down by Cuevas Moore. A chance underneath there for Wally Talbert, and she couldn't put it in. 28-year-old veteran trying to play her way onto the Liberty roster that has 5 openings. Zhang Li Ting lost the handle. China resets with 8 to shoot. Li Meng off the dribble against Charles. And the foul is called against the 10-year vet.
Tina was working hard defensively in a stance, trying to move her feet, but freedom of movement. Even if you get one hand on them once they're faced up, the officials will call it.
5th personal against Tina Charles. She exits along with Avery Worley Talbert. Han Shu makes her first appearance since the intermission. Defending there in the lane and gets called for the foul against the slashing Lee. They were teammates in September playing for China in the World Cup. Adversaries at least for 40 minutes tonight in this preseason matchup. Li Meng lost in the WCBA finals just a few short weeks ago. The Women's CBA, founded in 2002, first-tier women's basketball league in China to complement the CBA.
China has become a prominent destination for WNBA players in the off-season. They pay well. It's a shorter season. You don't have to be over there for 6 months. It's a 3-month season. Some of the top players in the WNBA have spent time in the Chinese league, including Brittany Griner, Brianna Stewart.
Tina Charles has played there, Maya Moore. Now 18 leagues the WCBA has expanded, 18 teams rather, the WCBA has expanded to. Colby Morgan trying to make the Liberty roster, undrafted out of Tulane, signed earlier this month. Did not see action in the first half. 2:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Zhang off the back of the rim, no, it's down to Cuevas Moore. Did not play last season, her first year out of South Carolina because of a knee injury. That's a deep look and a chance for 4. Kia Nurse, a 3-pointer and 1.
We talked about Kia Nurse hitting the Liberty's first 3 of the game at the beginning of this quarter here. Nice job finishing, the contact on her hand after. This shows some good chemistry. Watch the Liberty bench. Oh, you can't see it on that shot. Stand up, cheer. You need to see that kind of excitement on the sidelines as well.
They were trailing by 6 entering, and now it's an 8-point lead for the Liberty. A 23 to now 11 quarter in favor of New York. Nurse off the dribble. Hesitation. Kia Nurse gets all the way in, but misses. Lee Yuan the rebound, leading the break. Just a bit too far ahead of Lee, and here comes New York. To Han. Camping out in the paint for 2.
Really nice possession by the New York Liberty in transition. First of all, Cuevas Moore has done a really nice job in the minute she's had on the floor. She led that break, extra pass, Han scored. That was pretty transition basketball.
And a turnover back to the Liberty. The second unit led by the rookie Han Shu, playing with good energy, good ball movement, good chemistry. as the lead is up to 8 with a timeout called. Final minute of the third quarter here on ESPN News.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
25-11 the third quarter overall, but a 22-9 run in the last 8 or so minutes of this third quarter. What do you think's been the difference for the Liberty since the break?
Well, for most of the quarter, Katie Smith had a trio of players all in together. Kia Nurse, Tina Charles, Worley Tolbert were all on the floor together, and they were able to get into a nice flow. And the players who've come in off the bench since then have played well too. They're getting stops on the defensive end. They're pushing the ball in transition. They're scoring when they do so. It's been unselfish play, making the extra pass to the player who's open.
The last bucket for Hahn, assisted by Colby Morgan making the extra pass. It's been a good third quarter for Kia Nurse, but getting into trouble there late in the shot clock. Yang Li Wei. To the trailer is Pang Jung Chi. She leaned in from the foul line to knock it down, and it's a 6-point game. You can see Katie Smith coaching late in this third quarter. She told you, Rebecca, that she'll run late game, late shot clock plays, try to simulate game-like situations in this preseason contest. Seconds remaining in the third. Guo off the mark. And that brings us to the end of the third quarter. Kia Nurse with 19 overall to lead the way for the Liberty.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
You don't know my name.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to WNBA Preseason on ESPN. The New York Liberty and the Chinese women's national team in Barclays, Brooklyn, New York, with the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. I'm David Resnick, and the Liberty can expect some reinforcements by the time they suit up again next week.
You see Amanda Zowie B on the left, Rashonda Gray on the right. Both of them arrived yesterday, had their physicals today, and that means between now and when those two step on the floor tomorrow, the New York Liberty will have to cut a player because you have to keep your training camp roster at 15. It's at 14 now, but they've got 2 joining them tomorrow.
Bria Hartley played all 34 games last year for the Liberty, along with Kia Nurse. Zowie B played 29. Rashonda Gray should add some depth as well. And they're also expecting back Kia Stokes, another main contributor off of last year's 12-woman roster. Liberty by 6. They really turned things around in that third quarter. 25-13 was the advantage. They went from down 6 to a 6-point lead. Inside positioning there by Megan Huff. And it is a loose ball foul against Han.
There's been a lot of fouls for a preseason game. 20 for China, 21 for China, 19 for the Liberty. One thing Katie Smith said that they really needed to improve on from a season ago. A nice take inside by Rebecca Allen off the drive. The Liberty a year ago averaged over 20 fouls per game. It was the most in the WNBA, and she was saying we really have to improve in that area. We have to play better defense. We have to stop fouling teams. Yeah, 19 so far in this game.
Rebecca Allen, an 84% free throw shooter last year. Completes the three-point play. Signed as a free agent back in 2015, and she is set to begin her 5th season with the Liberty.
I was talking to Katie Smith. She said, you know, we've finally really figured out how to use Rebecca Allen on the offensive end. She said she's a scorer. We have to get her more touches. We have to put her in a position to put the ball through the basket. And she ended the season really well last year for the New York Liberty, and she's had a good camp so far in the early stages this year.
26 years old, Australian. Perhaps a bigger role for her this year with those losses we detailed earlier in the backcourt and the wing position. Jan doesn't agree with the call.
It's a universal language too, is disagreement with the official.
It's good to know that every player around the world doesn't believe they've committed a foul.
That's right.
You want to make sure that the important things everybody believes in.
Right. Universal. Nice move. Nice step through by Han right there and finishing with her left hand.
We talked a little bit about it during halftime where the owner, Joseph Tsai, said Han joining us is like when Yao Ming or Jian were first-round draft picks. It's that type of significance and level. And Han Shu has responded by saying she wants to complete the mission. She wants to live up to those expectations. She really embraces it.
She knows the role model that she is for all young girls aspiring to play basketball in China.
Allen off the dribble, off the iron. It's amazing to think about the poise that the 19-year-old has shown in the few short weeks that she's been drafted and in Liberty training camp and meeting the media earlier this week at training camp in Brooklyn. There's Han finishing the break.
That was a nice pass too. Throw it up high where she can grab it and then a finish inside. And she speaks English, but she does have a translator here, and the translator played basketball, so she knows basketball lingo and knows how to translate that for Han in practice.
Great look. Wong was left open on the breakdown by the Liberty defense. You know, it must be one thing when you're an Asia Dur, 4 years in the States, playing college ball, top level, in the limelight, but what's the pressure that Shu is feeling as a 19-year-old coming from another country?
I mean, instead of having, you know, your college team cheering for you, you've got the entire country of China rooting for you to do well. Well, she hasn't had much pressure, at least it hasn't looked like it. She's handled it pretty well. You see on those two possessions, you know, her ability to finish. She's got good feet. She's got good pacing when she catches the ball. She's not in a hurry, which is a big thing for post players.
Each team only gets 3 draft picks. Brittany Boyd dribbling around and got fouled. You're not going to use a valuable asset on a player that you don't think can contribute. But how good, how quickly can Han Shu be a factor in the WNBA?
I think she'll be a factor this season. We've seen already that she can be a nice complementary piece offensively in terms of her scoring. At 6'9", she's already going to help alter some shots on the defensive end of the floor. She gives you a big who can battle with some players like Brittany Griner or Sylvia Fowles, which helps Tina Charles not have to have that defensive assignment. So, how big will the impact be? I don't know, but she clearly will have one. Her game can translate into minutes in the WNBA, and it will this season.
First Chinese draft pick in more than 20 years, Haisha Zhang went 16th overall in the elite draft back in 1997. But in terms of the main draft, Han Shu, the first ever from China.
Haisha Zhang was a player who played for the Chinese Olympic team in 1996, was a strong contributor to the LA Sparks in the early years of the WNBA. 6'8" player, very difficult to defend, and I speak from experience there.
She came into the league towards the latter stages of her career, only played 1 year stateside. Totally different scenario with the 19-year-old Han. Kelly Farris committing the foul there. Lead has expanded to 13. We know that this game is airing in China 12 hours ahead, so waking up.
So good morning.
That's right. And taking in some women's basketball action halfway across the world. Deep three is off the iron. Inside of the arc, that's no good. Han Shu with the rebound. Tiffany Bias looks inside, and the foul. Liberty will have it out of the break. Trying to close in on a preseason victory against China.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Drafted 14th overall in this year's draft, the debut for Han Shu has been impressive.
I was impressed with her last year during the World Cup when she scored 20 points against the U.S. team. Today, she's been really efficient, 5 for 7 from the field. I talked about it in the first half, she doesn't move like a 6'9" player. She's not lumbering at all. And when she catches the ball, she has patience, she's got great touch, can finish. She's 19. This 6'9" woman is 19. When you think about, the favorite phrase at the draft, doesn't matter what sport, is tremendous upside. Well, that right there is the picture of tremendous upside.
What's the difficulty for a transitioning big coming into the WNBA where you have established post presence?
It's a little bit different in her situation because it's not a player coming from college to the WNBA. She's coming from national team experience. So she played against Tina Charles. She's played against Brittany Griner in those situations. So the transition is a little bit easier. But even you look at her and see her frame. She's slight. She's not as strong. These women in the WNBA are much stronger. So, in terms of getting pushed around a little bit, that's something that she's going to have to grow with. And Boyd's been good. That's a nice take by Brittany Boyd. She's looked good so far in this first preseason game for the Liberty.
Some guards for the Liberty. We've been talking a bit about Charles, obviously, Han Shu, her debut, but returners in Brittany Boyd, Kia Nurse, opportunities in the backcourt for the Liberty this year.
And one of the things that Kia Nurse is the leading scorer in this game right now with 19. And Katie Smith was telling me, for Kia Nurse, it's just about being consistent. And she had some up and down moments a year ago, some moments of brilliance where she really got out there and was able to score the basketball. Well, she's been really good so far in this preseason game. They need that. They need a player looking to score, not only hitting threes, making 4-point plays, but also the willingness to attack the basket. We've seen that from both Nurse, who's on the bench now, and from Brittany Boyd in stretches.
It'll be nearly a roster that half of it has been turned over. 7 returners, 5 open slots available with Li Meng at the free throw line for China. What's the process of turning the page off of a 7-27 season?
Well, Katie Smith hopes it's a quick process.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a lot of new faces, a chance to rebuild the chemistry that was so good the previous year. I mean, this is a New York Liberty team that was on the verge of the finals the 2 previous seasons, and just finding what that right chemistry is going to be and building back the culture of a winning championship caliber team.
Durr on the pull-up, looking smooth. Shaking off those early game nerves to knock down the jumper. I mean, it was a team that went to the playoffs 3 straight years. One of the best teams in the Eastern Conference from 2015 to 2017. And then 17 to 18, won 15 less games. A dreadful finish with 13 straight losses to cap the year. 3 more tune-ups to go in this preseason for Katie Smith and her club. And then they'll tip it off later this month, trying to rebound and be one of the 8 teams to make the playoffs this year.
It's been a good start, though. This has been a really positive sign for the New York Liberty in that Tina Charles looks mid-season form, but she hasn't had to do everything. They haven't had to completely rely on her. Some of their veterans talked about them. Boyd, Hartley in the back, Nurse in the backcourt looking good, and then again, has to be thrilled with Han. They're blaming each other with who stepped into the lane first.
Wang Shuamang along with Han Shu, they played together on the 2018 World Cup team. Almost looking like a couple of friends in the backyard pointing fingers. It's a double violation against those 2. A playful moment in this exhibition game.
Yeah, they both went right about in unison.
So they'll jump it in the center circle. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch there, it appears, by Kelly Farris. Again, that hustle that she's known for since her days playing at UConn. And then her 4 seasons as a professional with the Connecticut Sun. So they add Rashonda Gray, Amanda Zowie-B. Eventually 4 additional players will return from overseas commitments. What do you want to see from the Liberty over the next couple weeks as they compete in their additional preseason games?
Well, you want to see them continue to grow on what you've seen today. You know, I talked about Kia Nurse. One of the big things for her this year will be consistency. She played really well today. Well, how is the rest of training camp going to go for her? How will Han continue to evolve in terms of her chemistry with Tina Charles? You know, will Boyd continue to learn and grow from the experience of Tanisha Wright? So, some nice things we've seen today with only 4 days of training camp under their belt, and how can they continue to grow from this? And how quickly can the players who come from overseas kind of assimilate into what the team has been doing so far in training camp? You see some of the point guards right there, the veteran Tanisha Wright and Brittany Boyd.
Li Meng back at the free throw line. Perfect trip. Atlanta was the best team in the East during the regular season, but it was Washington that made the finals. Seattle was the best team in the league by 3 games, but they'll play 2019 without the league MVP, Breanna Stewart. A lot of interesting storylines as 2019, the 23rd season for the WNBA, is underway with this preseason game, and an offensive foul. Leo Uaru gets called for the illegal screen.
You mentioned Atlanta. That's a team I'm eager to watch early on in the season as well. Tiffany Hayes had a great breakout season a year ago. She should have been a WNBA All-Star, was not named one. But especially late in the year when Angel McCoughtry was down with injury, and now this year without Angel, I'm eager to see how much has Tiffany Hayes grown. And when we talked at the half about emerging superstars, Tiffany Hayes could be one of them.
Do you feel like the league is in a good place to absorb potentially, some of their best players not suiting up this year?
I think they are. I mean, this league, the level of play in this league, okay, that's 6'9", 6'9", and she just drove from 17 feet away. But yeah, this league is full of superstars, and you see as you watch teams in training camp and the cuts that are going to be made in the next couple of weeks, this league is ripe for expansion because there's a lot of talented women who will not be on rosters this year. But 6'9", look at that. Showing some quickness. We talked about her footwork, the left-handed dribble. You can see why the New York Liberty drafted her with the 14th pick.
Played for the Chinese team in the World Cup, professional season in the WCBA under her belt, and now embarking on the first year of her WNBA career. 11-point Liberty lead, 3:35 to go. Lee knocks it down. Back down to single figures. Hahn follows up the bias miss. She got fouled on the putback attempt. It was interesting, Han Shu started the game, started the third quarter on the bench, came in late in that third and has played the duration and is on the floor with 3:18 to go. Gets that free throw to drop.
Looks like she's really enjoyed herself so far in this game. I mean, that's not easy to go against players that you've been teammates with for a long time, which is what she's doing, going against her national team teammates. And she's acquitted herself pretty well here in her first professional game in the W.
We saw the debut of 3 Liberty rookies. Running the floor is Talia Caldwell. Signed for the second time to Liberty training camp after a contract in 2016. Penned a column for the Players Tribune entitled "Still Shooting." Still hoping for that WNBA regular season contract. Another one of those rookies along with Huff is Durr. Off the dribble and the finish.
That's some pretty hoops right there. Nice job by Ace Durr.
Dawn Staley Award winner. The best guard in the country, showing the handles there. And that 3 is wiped off the board. Asia Durr showing the handles.
How many changes of directions does she have on this possession? Beautiful finish by the lefty with her left.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
You don't know my name.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Back with the New York Liberty with a 13-point lead, much on the shoulders of Kia Nurse. She has been stellar in this game. The Liberty have 2 made threes. Well, she made them both, including this on a 4-point play. Kia Nurse has been efficient and effective throughout the course of this preseason game, particularly in the second half. 4 of 8, 15 points on 4 of 8 from the field. That's pretty good.
Showed some explosive scoring ability as a rookie. Career high 34 points last year. And we've given a lot of attention to the first-year players, Rebecca, but perhaps the key for the Liberty this season might be on the shoulders of Nurse and some other of those young players, young veterans as part of the nucleus for the Liberty.
We get excited about young players and their potential in the league, but the WNBA has always been a veterans league, and it will continue to be that.
End of shot clock. Nice turnaround, baby hook. Han Shu puts it in for the Liberty. $19 points to tie the team high of Kia Nurse. 6 of 8 from the field. Nice wraparound pass, lead to the corner. Battle for the rebounds. And another tie-up. Han Shu takes a bow. Impressive debut for the 19-year-old in front of the home fans.
She's been stellar. You know what? There's not enough bowing in the WNBA. I love that. She comes out, show appreciation to the fans as they show her their appreciation. What a debut.
Special moment, special night for Han Shu to be taken out of the game late, acknowledged by the fans of both the Liberty and of the Chinese women's national team, a country that she represented this past fall, and understands her responsibility to continue to play for the national team and be a bright spot for that country's basketball.
I've really enjoyed watching her play today, and not just because of her skill and the potential that you see, but she's one of those players that's joy-filled when she's out on the floor, and it's really fun to watch players who look like they're having a lot of fun when they're out there playing, and she is one of those.
Liberty extending the lead to 15. Add 3 more. Megan Huff showing her range.
She is a true stretch 4, a player with size, but who can step out and not afraid to take it from deep.
Rebound pops out to Wu. An extra pass there to Pan Jianqi. Liberty trailed at halftime by 6. Third quarter turned things around, gave New York the lead. They extended it in the 4th. Make way as the 2019 WNBA season tips off Friday, May 24th. Check your local listings or visit WNBA.com for more.
I can't wait. I've enjoyed the heck out of this preseason game. We've got a couple more weeks before the season actually starts. I mean, last year we had the incredible semifinal series between Phoenix and Seattle. 2 previous seasons we had incredible 5-game series between New York and LA in the WNBA finals. Such high-level, exciting basketball, and we're about to start it all up again.
And the playoff system that's been adopted over the last couple of years remains, where top 8 across the 12-team league make the playoffs, and that creates a lot of exciting matchups
single elimination in the first 2 rounds.
Really makes you fight hard for one of those top 4 seeds. All the way to the rim, Bianca Cuevas-Moore in her homecoming. Final seconds with the shot clock off. That's Lee off the iron, and a rebound for New York. Durr making 1 extra pass before time expires on a preseason victory for the Liberty as Katie Smith begins her 2nd year as the head coach.
Not bad for a team that has only been practicing for 4 days with the New York Liberty. They really showed something here today. Tina Charles, Kia Nurse, but man, the young guys. Han was really impressive. The 6'9", 19-year-old going against her national team teammates has to feel great about what she did. The New York Liberty fans have to feel pretty good about what they saw out of her and the rest of the squad in their first preseason game.
Liberty will still get some more reinforcements prior to the start of the 23rd regular season, which begins on May 24th. A couple of marquee matchups dot the early part of the schedule, games that you'll be able to see on ABC.
I can't wait for that Phoenix-Seattle matchup. We talked about what a great series it was in the semifinals a year ago. When those teams get together, they battle, and that's going to be a great way to kick it off on ABC.
A special night in Brooklyn, kicking off the 2019 WNBA season. Our final score, the New York Liberty 89, the Chinese women's national team 71. Up next on ESPN News, Jalen and Jacoby. For Rebecca Lobo and our entire ESPN crew, I'm David Resnick. Thank you for watching, and good night.